Hi, everybody. Welcome to Growth House. Right before we got started here, Matt and I were just getting into the riveting topic of if you were in a phone booth and you had your arm, would you rather have your arm, and you got to fight a guy, would you rather have your arms tied and his legs tied, or your legs tied and his arms tied? And Matt said he'd rather have the other person's arms tied and his legs tied, and I think that's a bad idea.
Not at all. Again, this makes no sense, folks. Like Short ran here, right? If your knees are exposed and your hands are tied, and we're in a phone booth, I'm just gonna 2 kicks, blow out each knee. Now you're incapacitated. If I have my hands, right, I can punch you. I got 2 fists. I got 2 elbows. Now I can grapple you. I've opened up all these chokes. It's probability.
How talented of a striker are you, though, really?
Terrible.
You're making
Terrible, but not with a guy that has his legs blown out and his hands tied. I mean, that point,
I know you're Mr.
effective.
Jiu-Jitsu. I have to see your striking ability.
You're making it sound like you have this much room to load and throw a punch. And when
He's
tied,
small.
all that
Very
happens
tiny.
when you tie a
6'1".
person's arms to their side is they become a tremendous weapon. And especially in a phone booth where they just bump into you and
Yeah.
lean into you and throw into you. Like, the best you've got is like little rabbit uppercuts at my tummy. And guess what? I got rope there protecting me because that's how they tied my arms. And I'm throwing knees. I'm stomping your foot. I'm tripping you. And
In a phone booth.
In a phone booth.
Okay.
And, I'm stomping your feet. I'm kicking your legs. You know why? Because they're tied up. I'm going to trip you so easy because your legs are tied up. And then I have legs next to your head.
Put a lot of thought into
All you
this.
can
Yes.
do, all you can do with your free arms is beg for mercy.
I
Is
see.
cover up and beg for mercy.
All I can say is agree to disagree. You know what I mean?
I guess we're gonna have to find out the hard way. I think,
Let's do
Matt.
it. There we go.
Yeah.
Increase viewership.
Next week on Phone Booth Podcast.
Hey, we can set up a ring in here.
There we go. We actually,
make it like Howard
Nancy
Stern.
was just telling us
Yeah.
people were karate chopping watermelons. Like, I think they're pretty
Yeah.
open here.
Partying in
yeah.
here. I say we host a
Put
fight.
some money on it.
I'd love to see you two fight. That'd be great.
There's a mud wrestling avenue that we could definitely take this down, drive this van down. You know what I'm
Mud
saying?
wrestling.
All money goes to
Us.
some type of charity. It goes to us.
It goes to us.
Okay.
Mud wrestling isn't easy. You got to pay for the
what I
hospital
hear.
bills.
But
But anyway, guys.
way to start it. I love it.
Yeah, this week we're just catching up with each other, seeing. I wanted to start with something fun because nobody wants to talk about what we're talking about, which is where everybody is from our original, first few episodes. We all got into each other's what we're all facing right now, and we're just kind of following up, catching up with everybody, and seeing where we stand in our growth pattern process,
In our growth.
life, on the
Yeah.
road to growth, the
Yeah.
road less traveled.
Sure.
Who was he wrote a poem. Frost, Robert Frost,
That
wrote
guy.
wrote that poem. He did.
Yeah.
He wrote some other poems too. That's not important right
Boy,
now.
that point in my life, I
E.
was not reading,
Cummings,
let alone poems.
another writer, poet.
Okay.
That's all of them. Plath.
I'm gonna Google it.
It's all coming back to me now. Seuss, Sel Silverstein. No, but let's talk to me a little bit about what you were pick up where you left off the last time we were talking about.
So, and again, just to be direct, you're asking me, where am I at in 2024 with my growth journey?
yes.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you for
living.
Yeah.
Thank
how
you.
am I living?
Thank you
Yeah.
for being
Man,
direct.
I mean, one, great, right? I love life, extremely positive. A lot of good things going on. But that doesn't mean hard times, right? I definitely, have some hard times right now. I guess given two, right? Business wise, right? I think we're going through one of the biggest transitions in our real estate business, right? Stransky and Company, which is exciting, right? I mean, it's a little nerve wracking, imposter syndrome. Am I doing the right model? Is Dan the man, right? All of these questions, right? Yes. It is. So in that journey, yeah, I think I'm going through everything, in that, we've gotten rid of quite a few teammates, right? And with that, can bring some shitty situations, right? Humans are humans, and I'll leave it at that. But I think for me, where I'm really excited and going through all of those tougher parts of the journey, the mental landmines, all of that is, I'm just so sure on where we're headed. For us, right, maybe a little backdrop, we're real estate nerds. We have a real estate team, and I've been in the game 7 or 8 years, right? As far as like a team leader, even worse, rainmaker, all these like really cheesy terms. But yeah, we started a business. That's at the end of the day what it turned into. And probably 3 years ago, now going in 4 years, is actually when I really became committed to it. Prior to that, I was the man that was chasing two rabbits. I built and flipped homes. I had partners. I did it myself. I did it with family. And then I had kind of this real estate thing on the side. And we were really good at crushing internet leads and, providing great service for our clients. And it started to grow. Fast forward, right? So now 7 years, 3 years into my real journey, when I really started studying these real estate teams, there were a lot of holes in them. And the first being is there was a lot of faith, truthfully, put on the realtor, right? To have a skill set that I don't think necessarily fit always what a realtor is, right? We talk about it, lead generation. It's being extremely disciplined and chasing 90 no's to get, 10 yeses and only one of those pan out. And in my growth journey 3 years ago, I went down or not down there, forgive me. I was on Zoom with these folks, a company called the Loken Group out in Texas. And what they had done is created essentially a call center, right? They brought in a guy like Dan called an inside sales associate, and all of those leads are funneled through Dan, and then Dan becomes an agent connector, right? He is putting those leads in front of the agents, pairing him up with the right person to make sure that they get the best service with the most knowledgeable agent right in the area. So through that, a lot of minutia, right? I mean, literally one day your agents are doing all the lead gen and 90% of the lifting, and now they're really down to doing none of it. So through those shifts, dissecting our team a little bit, right? We went from 8 agents to 4 agents. Right? We had to get rid of people who really didn't truly fit our culture, right? We are pretty clear on, our core values, right? A lot of that was done organically. And, again, like we talked about in this podcast, you've really got to get yourself around the right people. If they're not growth-minded, right, that one person who's not is the biggest cancer on the team, right? So, through that, I've experienced a ton of growth. And am I on task? What the hell is that, right? I'm on the right path, fucking stuff up, day in, day out, fixing it. Dan could probably really give you some real dirt on me as far as a leader because he's kind of our first, right? He's a badass, but
I know where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've really experienced a big shift all of a sudden from having to be dealing with not being busy to being super slammed.
Sure.
Right. And we, in our business, it's, showing, run to do the offer. You got a new lead. You still got your kids. It's just like, and I've been living probably in the last, I'd say 12 days. Mm-hmm. It went from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And the nothing in all a blessing,
which is awesome.
Oh, which is a blessing, right? And that's But when it doesn't, it definitely takes a lot out of you when you hadn't been running that engine, and then really just forcing myself to be organized with all of it. Because if you don't write it down, you don't put it in your calendar, every little thing, you'll miss one.
Yeah,
fall flat on your face, and then all your momentum's gone. So. Just staying on task and getting that engine going from 0 to 100. Because my whole engine before was being patient, lead genning every day. I had no clients because it was Christmas and 0 degrees, and we had January. And man, what a shift in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been.
Amazing.
Tidal wave.
But yeah, running I guess for lack of a better term, self-help podcast, and we come in here and talk about growth, live in it, and then like when you're having those hard days, hard times, start feeling bad for yourself, checking yourself, hey, you're going in and talking about growth. You know, like you chucked me about that today,
Yeah.
right? And talking,
Yeah.
you know, doing
Yeah.
our Stransky Company,
Yeah.
podcast. I wasn't as comfortable, and he's like, "Hey, man, this is the growth. Like this is
Yeah.
the growth." And it was like, "Oh man, I'm going to this Growth House podcast talking about growth." You know, like
Yeah.
it's living it,
Yeah.
and that's never easy, and that's why we're talking about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're well suited to,
Yeah.
you know. How about you, Danimal?
I haven't been. I think I might have had one road rage incident. We might have talked about it. We might have talked about it in here. I don't think we did.
We did, yeah.
it was-
There was a
but-
couple. We did.
Yeah,
Well, that's great.
Since then, though, that was the one where I was like, "Come on, man, let's put a lid on it. Let's get it together here. Stop getting so angry all the time. It's not helping anybody. Like,
not
it makes
healthy.
people angry. It gets people maybe scared. And like, it's not like I'm a scary guy, but I, just don't want to be angry all the time.
Yeah.
And people don't want to be around me if I'm angry.
Have you seen
This
this guy
guy-
angry?
This guy, basically, I tapped the horn at him because he wasn't driving at the light. Turns green.
Just a little tappy tap. Okay.
Love tap. The excuse me of horn honking.
Yeah, I get that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he comes up to the next light. He like pulls up next to me, and he's like looking at me like this. And I was just like, I didn't react until he started doing like gang signs and stuff. And I'm like, bro, he's a 35-year-old white dude driving around North Line shooting gang signs. Like, I can't let him do this.
Yeah.
And I screamed at him.
Oh, jeez.
And
How did you feel after?
terrible.
How did?
Terrible.
Okay.
Awful every
Good.
time. Any and every time I have done what like my lizard brain is like, say it. Like right when I get the evil thing to say to somebody, every time I do it, I regret it. And it's like, 'cause I don't-
You're addicted to when you're driving. It's cortisol. You're addicted to that anger. And so the other people on the road, that's what road rage is.
Maybe they get
You go out there and you take your anger out, and you get a rush from it because it's an encounter.
Sure.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
You need. Let's go to
Yeah.
I'm
jujitsu.
doing
Wait,
better.
let's get. Let's just get.
he
We
needs
need the
to
phone
fight.
booth. We need
I'm
the
doing
phone
that.
booth.
Oh, get it, bro. One of
I'll
the
be your
red
punching
ones. One of the
dummy. That's
red
cool.
ones. Ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
So I've been doing better.
But
with
you.
that.
But you've grown.
I've
It
done-
was.
well,
How
that-
many times was it happening before?
So let me say that every time I do it, like that thing that's like, do the wrong thing, be mean, be evil, say it, I'm always like, regret it. And I always tell myself, like, you don't behave a certain way for other people. You do it for you so that you can sleep at night.
Sure.
But I just,
Hell yeah.
I had like the last road rage incident I had. I was like, I drove away from it and I was like, me and this guy have more in common
Yes.
than we are different. This guy,
you.
I was like, is a freaking chooch. I gotta let him have it, bro. I gotta let him have it. And it's not like,
We don't condone that on the podcast.
no,
here.
of course. And like I was talking to somebody about it and they're like, you get shot. And I was like, I know, but
Hey man, look, as a martial artist, no fight is the best fight, and honestly, you never know. I would be so bummed.
I don't want
What
to.
if that guy-
had a gun and killed me?
Yeah, I would be so bummed, Dan. Who's going to host this?
I'd haunt him in jail.
Everyone's
I'd have so,
carrying now, bro.
I'd have
Like,
so much fun
ugh.
haunting him in
Yeah.
jail. He'd be in jail in solitary confinement, and I'd be like, "You're still not alone. I still live in your head. I am the ghost."
If
that
he
haunts
shot
your
you, Dan, he
dreams."
don't care. So
Straight up, that's what
Well,
like door knocking. That freaks me out, man. People
Yeah.
have guns.
yeah, it's definitely.
Hey, dude,
Have
you're
you
walking
ever
up
have
on
you
the
ever
property,
had it
man.
like where you've walked up door knocking on a guy and
I don't
something where
door
he's
knock
like,
for that
"Don't
reason."
come back."
Maybe it's the wrong reason, and I respect anybody who does it. And if people have had results, great. But yeah,
I was in like a freshman in college, and I painted houses for the summer, and like our guy was like, "Go door knock and tell people they need their houses painted."
College painters, is that
And
what it was? Or-
student painters.
Yeah, I almost did that.
I used to joke with my friends.
I remember
like,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Student painters, it's done. Like that's like what we used to do the logo as, or do as our like
Punks who haul
slogan,
junk.
just because it was.
Well, the question
shoddy.
I got for you, which is great, right? We're down to one road rage,
yes,
right? Which is fantastic. How did you get there? Obviously, this one guy got you. I love the story, right? But how? If there were 4 or 5,
I
how have
thought-
you gotten it down to 1? How'd you
Well,
most of this moment?
I think that I'm gonna try and keep it not from happening in the future.
Good.
And I think
Good
it's
goal.
just because, like, if I saw myself, if I was watching that happen,
Sure.
I'd be all like, "Eek,"
Sure.
nobody's walking out of that one feeling good, smart, or cool.
Sure.
So,
So through observation then? So you've kind of removed yourself from the situation. You're now picturing it, looking in.
as a martial
And-
artist,
yeah.
Matt, your first match, you were thinking a lot more about the moves you were doing. Whereas, like, by the 5th, 6th one, you were like, okay, I did this, he responded to that's what created this. And, like, you were able to think
Sure.
about it a little bit more.
Sure.
My immersion has made it such that I am able to view it objectively. And I don't like it.
I got it. I got it.
I mean, outside of that, like, personal goals are, the whole thing we talked about in, like, the first few episodes is it's slow, it's arduous, and every day that you're not there, you wake up and you're like, sure, it's a bunch of crap and everything's stupid. But you just gotta, stick with it, and at the end of the day, if you feel like you made a little bit of progress, you're doing it.
Sure.
And
I totally agree, Dan. Like,
yeah.
it is hard sometimes, like, when you're chasing something, it's a constant acknowledgement that you're not there yet.
Sure.
And you have to remind yourself that you'll never get there if you're not chasing it, right? So
Sure.
you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You have to really enjoy the purpose of chasing it.
Yeah,
Which
the
is tough to do.
the process.
Yeah. It's a constant reminder. You can't live in it because you will. If you're not giving something your 100%, and it's not tough to chase, and you're not giving it 100%, you're not going to feel it, right?
Sure.
You're only going to feel it if it matters,
Yeah.
and you will.
I love that. Yeah. You're doing good.
Okay.
Wait, where do
Stay
you
out of
think
my lane.
if
Stay out of my lane.
if 5 is no
I
road
was trying to be
rages?
deep to that.
Stay out of my
No,
lane.
I
that's all I'm
bet that
saying.
was deep. I
That
got
was good.
that.
That was good.
But at 5, right? If 5, 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. Where are you at road rage now?
3.
3. Okay. Where
No,
were you?
you say it like I am the problem. I never am. I'm reactive, not proactive. In the same way, I'm a reactive.
That's the problem.
I'm a reactive driver.
Yeah.
In the same way where I'm like somebody.
Dan, I got a
Somebody
book
would
for
call
you.
me. Somebody would call me an aggressive driver.
Okay.
I've been called that, but being a decisive driver and being an aggressive driver, I think, are two different things. And it's like in life, in anything, especially on the road, it's more dangerous for you to sit and wait and contemplate and waste everybody's time and cause all this trouble than it is for you to just have gone when you should have gone, or me to go around you. And it's like, I'm not doing anything other than what's best for the colony.
Love it.
And then
You
then
should drive
somebody
like a team member. Ideally, we should all view each other on the road as we're all on the same team.
Sure.
I
right?
agree.
The left lane is
Couldn't-
used for passing. The right lane is for getting off and going slower.
when I am
Spatial, like we should all be working together,
when I'm in my old Hyundai.
like little ants.
When I'm in my old Hyundai and there's 2 lanes in the freeway, big truck in the right lane, and I'm only going 80, 78 in the left lane to get in front of them. I see the cars behind. As soon as I get in front of that car, I get over to the right in front of the semi truck and let everybody pass me because I am paying attention because I want what's best for all the ants, Randy. Exactly. And it makes me irate.
A
when people don't
deeper
consider
question.
the other
Maybe we're
ants.
not aligned with your real passion. Maybe you're a race car driver.
I'm too big.
Could be.
I
think I'm too tall.
But I think your issue now,
Bad
and
vision.
in what you just said, is the key to the problem, though. Is you are expecting this said person
Sure.
to be acting and behaving in accordance with your values. Now, I agree with your values as a driver, but if you're going into the general public with expectations, you're going to come up short, every single time.
Adam Smith, bro.
Along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to.
Adam Smith.
You'll be in a fight every time you leave the house.
Adam Smith
Shout out
with
to my dad,
an
Bruce.
amendment. Everybody does what's best for themselves, and it works out the best for society. And if you
But
do
those
what's best for yourself in consideration of a larger like club or group, everyone prospers.
What's best for
but
yourself, though,
think-
Dan,
but
is
think-
to not get involved.
Yeah, but think about that too.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point.
Good. But think about it too, like with Adam Smith. That was such a different time. Not that it's not
He'd
true,
hate driving.
but think about the interference, right? I mean, they didn't have cars. They were on horses. It was, maintain your land, right? Like, I think there's so much noise. And I think what Randy is saying is that's it. You've got to, I think to be mentally strong in this world, you've got to really be a deflector. Don't be reactive. Right? I mean, some of the situations that I'm going through in business right now are hilarious to me, but it's because I'm not reacting. The wrong person in my situation would be reacting the wrong way, right? I've been forged through the fire, right? You've went from 5 road rages down to 1. You're getting better. But like Randy said, if you expect people to be like you and, have these same core values, it's on the mass, it's not going to happen. But it's how you handle it, because you had the choice, right? You were actually almost there. That's what I think is pretty cool, because you said, I wasn't going to do anything. It wasn't until he did this.
Yeah.
So you were almost no road rages. You were that was maybe a half a road
do
rage.
I wanna live in a
this guy was
world-
ready for it too, right?
Yeah. Do I wanna
he
live in a
wanted
world-
it. He wanted it.
Yeah, so you got caught
People
in, his
in
trap.
my life
Do
right
I
now
wanna live in a
want
world,
friction.
though?
You ain't getting
Oh,
none.
yeah.
You're dead, dude. Like,
Do
I'm not
wanna
gonna.
Do I want to
care
live
about
in a
you.
world with zero road rage, Dan? Do I want to be zero road rage, Dan? I don't even know. So we're taking it a day at a time.
I don't do that in the general public. I'm really good at deflecting that because I'm honestly fearful of it. But where
too.
I fail in this the most is with my wife.
Okay.
And she admitted to you too. When we want to go like tit for tat on each other, are ruthless. And it goes, and we know how to piss each other off.
Oh, yeah.
And who does? I mean,
Yeah.
this is all marriages,
Just
right?
hate it, though.
But
I
man,
hate
it's
that.
addicting sometimes, right? Because you can get away with it. Like it gets bad.
Sure.
And
Been there.
I have been really bad lately.
Okay.
'Cause, frustration.
Yeah.
Like a lot
It's human.
going on. Obviously, it's winter. We're all sick. And,
Vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, we're angry Michiganders in the winter. Let's be honest, we're fat and angry. But
I always wonder why.
Yeah, I that's where I really want to be better. That's where I
Cool.
need to grow is
I love that.
to not dig into those stupid fights with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Sure.
And I'm sure she'd say the same about you, which is a good thing. We love Melissa. So, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my biggest personal one right now, me and Dan were talking about it a little bit before. Every year, like making a real long story short, I had a bunch of these tests done 4 years ago, and I found out I had allergies. But man, they threw like the book at me. They said you got an enlarged lymph node, and it could be the C word. And then I went and got a bunch of other tests, and they're like, "Oh, you're good," but then you've got all these things on your pancreas, right? I have this thing that my body just produces these cysts that luckily aren't C words, right? So I went through this massive depression. Truthfully, and for those that know me, I mean, I think they're always surprised when I tell them. But no, I for a year, dude, no one knew because I was trucking along, but I was in the cellar, right?
Yeah.
And then, but every year I got to get these checkups, right? And like I said, it's been 4 or 5 years now, no big deal. But I handle these, and I love my mom. I'm sure she'll listen to this. I just got yelled at. Dan heard it. I am not handling that well. Right. And the reason I'm not, and I argued with my mom a little bit. She's always right. I will first say that. But in my life, I've learned to channel anger. Anger is how I started my business. Anger is how I'm a jiu-jitsu player. Anger, and it's more kind of a chip on my shoulder, if I'm being true. But yeah, I take these damn tests, right? Everything's good. Cool. You know, if anyone
Your
that
medical
has,
tests.
yeah, medical
Yeah.
tests, right? MRI, whatever, they shove this camera down my guts, right?
All good diagnosis.
Yeah, all good. I'm healthy as can be. For 43 years old, they tell me I'm a rock star, so I'll take that.
Rock
But
stars have terrible innards.
right,
at
well, again,
43.
I have good innards, but the
Rock star
issue.
innards. It's a whole different thing. Not acting like anyways.
But
Right.
the issue and where I'm trying to grow is in how I handle it. They called back. I needed to go get this other blood test because they didn't. And I'm gonna be honest with you. You think you have road rage? I promise you, we're either equal. But I'm betting I am more angry than you.
that you have more testing as what you're angry
Yeah,
about?
I was just like, dude, this is done. I'm over it. You know, I'll see you next year. And so I call my mom, and I'm throwing around the F word. That's my favorite word when I get angry. And she's just like, you're basically a bitch. You know, my mom's had brain tumor for 20 some odd years. My mom is an angel as far as I'm concerned on how she's handled it. But that's where I need to grow. And that's what she said to me. She's like, Matt, and this is what hit me. Because, God, she's always right. What kind of dad are you being, right? When you're a kid, you're the leader of your family, and you're upset, you're mad. Nothing's wrong, idiot. You know, you were literally tested 2 weeks. So all these things. So that's where I'm getting better. And what's funny though in this whole thing is, like I said, usually your issues are your biggest blessing. The biggest blessing that I've had in these 4 years is understanding I'm going to die one day, and not from this, just from something.
It's in the phone booth.
A man has 2 lives. The first one starts when he realizes he only has one. I live that, and then every year, right? And I check in with God on the daily, right? He's part of my regimen, but every year, me and him get this special thing to celebrate that. Fuck everything. I'm just alive.
Yeah.
Right. So
Every
it's
day.
really a blessing, but that's where I need a lot of help. So next check in, let's see if I'm better at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Create
We're here with you,
anticipation.
buddy.
And I'm
for the
healthy
next
as shit.
episode.
Anyone that
Yeah.
wants to wrestle, come get at it.
He's healthy as shit.
Hey, it's just more chances for them to confirm that you're great.
Well, that's it. That's what my mom said. She's like,
Awesome.
Matt, this is, you are going to be under surveillance. She's like, this is such a blessing. You have nothing, So you're right. And thank you for that, Ray.
He has nothing but anxiety about our forthcoming phone booth battle, which will be next week's episode of Growth House. Feel free to tune in.
Pay-per-view.
Bring your popcorn. It'll be on our Patreon, $20 a month subscription for this
Bet
one.
on DraftKings.
There you go.
Exactly, yeah. Enter Growth House, hashtag Growth House into DraftKings for your $20. Just kidding. We don't know any of those businesses, and we're not allowed to solicit because this is public television. And we just want to thank the people of the public for providing, people like you, for making television like this necessary and welcome. Thanks. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Goodbye.